Hey guys, welcome back to Chiro Coffee Chats. I'm Dr. Pete.
I'm Dr. Carla.
This week we're going to talk a little bit about chiropractic care and kids. So for a lot of you watching, you might be thinking, why would I ever bring my kid to a chiropractor? The classic thing we hear from parents is, look, my kid's fine. He can walk, she can jump, and so they don't need it.
Right.
So there's a couple things there. There's two real things we can look at. The first thing we can talk about is the incidence of musculoskeletal problems in children. So things like back pain, neck pain, headaches, guess what? They do happen. If you have kids, there's probably a good chance that they have complained to you about these things.
And they're not just trying to stay home from school.
Maybe 1 or 2 days.
Maybe,
afterwards, yeah. And I would say I've been practicing for 15 years, and I would say that I think I'm seeing more kids at younger ages complaining of headaches and back pain and neck pain than 15 years ago. In the last 15 years, a lot has changed.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Sure.
Like the fact that, everybody has a phone and a device. And of course, in the last year, people are sitting, kids are sitting doing online school. So they're less active. Their posture is being strained by, like for my kids, they do online school for however many hours, and then they take a little break, and then they hop on to game for 2 or 3 hours, and they're not doing their sports because they've been canceled.
No recess, nothing like that. To run around, play, move.
So there's factors there, because one of the things we know is that when parts of the body, specifically joints, stop moving, muscles around those joints get tight, and that can lead to stiffness and pain, and if it's in the neck, headaches and so forth. So another area is thinking about, actually there's 2 areas I want to mention, but one area is little kids, so babies and infants, and then that might be another area where you're thinking, well, why would a newborn ever need to go to a chiropractor? They haven't injured themselves.
They're not running around, jumping around, playing, so...
They're not. But what
could go wrong?
Right, but what do you want to answer? Do you want to answer that question?
Sure.
Okay, what could go wrong?
Very first thing, the children coming into this world, birth trauma itself. Birth is a pretty traumatic process. It's a natural process, but it is a traumatic process, especially for the baby themselves, especially if forceps are used in their type of birth or any type of suction. Vacuum to help aid in pulling the baby out of the birth canal can definitely injure the baby's neck and upper back musculature. So having a baby get checked right from the beginning is definitely how you prevent the development of any musculoskeletal problems later on.
That's thank you for sharing that, Dr. Carla. I had, when I was first in practice, I had a couple that were coming for care. They had a baby, and when the baby was being born, they had a vacuum extraction done.
Right.
And after the birth, like the baby's arm was basically kind of flexed and immobilized. And the doctor told them that, okay, there's some neck trauma from the vacuum extraction. And basically, we're gonna wait and see. Hopefully, the arm comes
they
back.
Get over it.
It was basically what was said. Yeah. So they brought their son, their little newborn son, into me, and we did an assessment and some very gentle adjustments to the neck. They're not adjustments that in adults you see videos and we make videos. They're not like that. It's like how much. It's like that much pressure. It's very light. It's very gentle. The baby doesn't even really know what's happening. And after only a couple visits, the baby's arm came back to normal, which was really exciting for me and for the parents. I will mention too, there is, I got a book here. This is a recent book by Dr. Joyce Miller, who's a chiropractor and a PhD. And this is evidence-based chiropractic care for infants. So this is, if for any chiropractors watching, if you haven't read this book, I think it's a must read. She talks about a big study that was done in the UK with looking at babies and benefits for babies under chiropractic care. And one of the cool things is that for babies, they can't really communicate.
Right.
Oh, like I'm doing better.
It hurts,
So, but one of the points of the study was that the mothers of these babies in the study were very satisfied at what they observed happen, in terms of changes in like babies' behavior and things like crying and so
Right.
forth.
Especially when you have other older children to compare it to too. The mothers definitely
sure,
have
yeah.
the best outlook on the baby's condition.
Exactly. Moms are the expert, 100%. And the last area I want to talk about is the older child. So again, right now for the last year, most sports have been paused, but I have 3 kids in various rep sports: baseball, soccer, cheerleading. If you're watching, you have kids in, you know, the sort of 8, 9, 10 to 15, 16, 17 range.
Yep.
A lot of those kids are playing high-level sports. And so they can, and I see those patients in my practice, they can have, not only could they have pain from like injuries or so forth, but they can have things that are affecting their performance.
Right. Sure.
Can you think of any areas with that? No.
Bumps, falls.
Yeah.
It's on the head. Oh yeah.
Okay. But what I was going to say was, if you bring in a child athlete, and again, could be like really from age 6, 7, 8 upwards to teenagers, we would assess them like an adult. How are their ranges of motion? Usually, you know, kids generally tend to have better ranges of motion than adults, but not always. Sometimes we'll find things like one of my favorite places to check that for hockey players and soccer players is hips. So they can have hips that, you know, they can skate, they can run, they can kick a ball, but when we do more detailed assessment of the hip, we'll find that one hip maybe doesn't quite have the same range of motion,
right.
and they don't have the same control. When we look at how they actively move that hip, they don't move it as well, and so we know that that's a recipe for lessened performance and potential injury,
for sure,
which can happen. So bringing your kid athletes to a chiropractor to have them assessed before they have an injury, before they have a pain or a problem that's obvious, is a really great idea to keep them joints, muscles, nerve system working healthy,
right.
Keep them performing at a high level. And again, for some of those kids, they're looking to get scholarships and or beyond, and so you want to take care of them
as they develop too.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. You want to take care of them basically the same way you take care of a professional athlete. So that's our story for this week. Do you have any closing remarks?
The very first patient I actually took care of in clinic in school was a 1-year-old baby, and it was probably the coolest experience ever because, you know, we had only been working on each other up until that point, so healthy 22 to 28-year-old students. So having a baby as my very first patient in clinic was kind of a very eye-opening experience, and I watched that baby go from this fussy little 1-year-old that didn't even want me to come near him to just every time he saw me lighting up because he felt that much better after, and he knew that I was the one that was helping him, and it was a really cool experience.
Very cool story.
Since I have no babies in my family, it was kind of my first experience with a baby, and then not only that, but adjusting them too. So that was very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that, Dr. Carla. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this informative. If you have any questions, we got the comments below there. You can certainly ask questions. You can comment about if there's any topics you want us to discuss in future videos. And of course, please be sure to like and subscribe so you will stay tuned with our new content. See you next week.
Bye.